Welcome to the Johnny Dell Football Academy podcast on the channel that's trying to answer the whys and hows of the game by talking through and dissecting game film and diving deeper to explain why the X's zig and the O's zag. I am Adam Marino, joined by Mr. Johnny Dell, and we are reminding you, as always, the most fun way to watch is on YouTube, where we go live. There you can comment into the live show. Be sure to hit the notification bell and turn on your notifications so you can be a part of the conversation. We also stream live on Facebook and X. Also, the audio versions are always found on Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcasts. Now, if you are live with us in the chat, it's probably because you are subscribed, you've hit the notification bell, and turned those notifications on. So, when sharing with your friends, be sure to let them know. We also love to hear from you outside of our live show. Email us at johnnydellsfootballacademy@gmail.com, and you can always check out the website JFA49.com, as it is the most fun way to support the channel. Also, the way we boost the chat and boost the algorithm is to type out hashtag JD49. Welcome in on a Monday. It is July 14th, and it is the Johnny Dell Football Academy podcast on the channel that breaks down the hows and whys, the who's, where's, everything of the game. I will take ownership of all of the negative things that we have to talk about. It's all my fault, because I was saying a couple weeks ago that I wanted some news. I wanted some stuff, some positive stuff to talk about. And
no. You didn't even say positive. You just said, I want some news. I want something to talk about. There's going to be
not negative.
Blah, blah, blah.
Of
well,
course
you didn't specify, and the universe didn't hear that. And since then, in like 10 days since then, Diamador Lenore got arrested, and now Jauan Jennings has demanded a new contract or to be traded, and it is all Adam's fault.
It's all on me. I take that, and I do apologize. A couple things, Johnny, that I want to do some housekeeping. One is episode 100. Episode 100. I remember when we had 100 episodes. It was a cool feeling to have triple digits of Sports Idiot Nation. And what was really cool about the episode for today is our voiceover guy, who was the PA announcer for the Harlem Globetrotters. He lives in Nashville, and so is a buddy with Titans Idiot Nation, who's on our show. He graciously came on the podcast, and it's hilarious just to hear our voiceover guy just talk about, sports and just whatever stuff. And so we had some fun with him. It was really cool. So his name's Jay Harper. Shout out to Jay. Very cool. 100 episodes in at Sports Idiot Nation, and we released some new information that, again, you will be a guest for sure. Again, you have been a guest a couple times. But new episodes starting in August are now Monday, Wednesday, Friday. How about that for you? Instead of Monday and Thursday, we go Monday, Wednesday, Friday, which means for you football fans, if you want to go over whatever happened on Thursday night, we will do that for sure on the Friday episode. Johnny and I will still come to you most Fridays like we have been. But on this channel, if the Patriots are playing the Titans on Thursday Night Football, we're not really interested in all that. However, if you're a football fan and you just want to hear about reactions and see my ugly face again, then
he's got a perfect face for radio, folks.
Exactly. So I am excited about that, because it is fun to talk through, and I'm a football fan in general, of course. And so new episodes of Sports Idiot Nation next month will be every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Be sure to check it out wherever you grab your social media. You will find us there as well. Super happy and proud for that. Again, check out Johnny's episodes. The one that he was on that was really, really fun was talking about the 80s and the 49ers dominance. And he really made some good points about how the Cowboys did not dominate the 90s and how the 49ers did dominate the 80s. And it was things that I honestly never really thought about. So definitely check that out. Great episode. And then the other thing that I wanted to point out was I know there are a lot of people here faithful to the Bay, and I am wearing my San Francisco Giants. I want people to hit hashtag Giants if they saw the Dwayne Kuiper interview with Barry Bonds on the San Francisco Giants YouTube channel. It was phenomenal. I got goosebumps 3 different times. I don't know if you know this, Johnny.
Three
I
different
was,
times.
yes, dude, seriously, man. I was at the game that Barry Bonds hit number 756. I was at the game. It was a Tuesday night, August 7th, I believe. I was there. I was living in San Jose at the time, and I went to the game. It was amazing. And that interview with Dwayne Kuiper, we love Crook and Kipe, was just phenomenal. So if you're faithful to the Bay and you watch that interview, I'd love to know. Just hit hashtag Giants. Let us know what you thought in the comments. Quiffle Ball saw it. Yeah, it was just really, really cool. I know you're not a huge baseball guy. I know you're not a huge faithful to the Bay guy with your Portland Jailblazers, but I just wanted to throw that out there to start. I know we got a lot of people in the Bay. So, all right, I know we got a lot to talk about. What did you think about Jauan Jennings, Johnny?
Well, so first, to clear it up, Technician can ask who's reported this. Adam Schefter reported this, put out an article about 40 minutes ago. Ian Rappaport has also confirmed this story as well. This is what Adam Schefter wrote on ESPN. He said San Francisco 49ers wide receiver Jauan Jennings, who was scheduled to make $7.5 million in the final year of his deal, wants a new contract or a trade, sources told ESPN on Monday. It marks the second straight summer that the 49ers are in this situation with a receiver who wants to be paid or traded, and this year's situation is indirectly tied to last year's scenario with Brandon Aiyuk. Jennings has approached the 49ers about his request, but little progress has been made, a source told ESPN. If a new deal is not reached by the time training camp starts next week, Jennings plans to request a trade to a team willing to pay him. Entering 2025, Jennings is slated to count $4.258 million against the cap in the final year of the 2-year, $15.39 million extension he signed last offseason. He is not expected to be a training camp holdout, but he is not expected to be happy, as the 49ers saw last summer with Aiyuk. Aiyuk, who is recovering from a torn ACL, is scheduled to make close to $25 million this season under the extension he signed in August. The 49ers extended Jennings through 2025 last year and feel they have treated him fairly, a source said. But Jennings still wants a new deal or a trade. He is coming off his best NFL season, posting career highs in receptions, yards, and touchdowns. He finished 10th in yards per route run and only had one drop. In addition, Coach Kyle Shanahan considers Jennings to be one of the best blocking wideouts in the league. Jennings is following the model that tight end Jonnu Smith used this summer with the Miami Dolphins. Smith asked the Dolphins for a new deal, and when they would not meet his wishes, he requested a trade and wound up being dealt to the Pittsburgh Steelers, where he signed a 1-year, $12 million extension. So that is what Adam Schefter is reporting right now. And so what this seems like is that obviously Jennings, this is not, he approached the 49ers on Friday. They said no. He then Monday drops all this out there. That's not how this is really working. He has most likely approached them in May or even before then. And they kept saying, we'll talk about it. Let's get through Fred Warner and Brock Purdy and George Kittle, and then we'll talk about you. And then when they go to talk, they say, look, Jauan, we just signed you to a deal last year. You thought it was fair then. And now you're coming back to us and saying we're not being fair. And Jauan Jennings is going to look at this and say, but doesn't good performance get rewarded with a raise? And he's wanting a raise. He had nearly 1,000 yards last year, was the most productive 49ers wide receiver. And he is nowhere close to the rest of the league as far as commensurate with his production. He is deeply underpaid. He also has very little guaranteed salary left. He's got $3.275 million guaranteed in the rest of his contract. To put that in perspective, Jaden Higgins, who is also, his contract is also causing issues with second rounders. The second round pick that was given a fully guaranteed contract by the Texans has not played an NFL down, and he has almost $12 million left guaranteed on his contract, whereas Jauan Jennings has less than 3.5. So Jennings is going to see things like that and say, why is a rookie who has not played a snap in the NFL got more guaranteed money than I do, coming off 26 yards away from a 1,000-yard receiver? That I can understand where he's coming from. The 49ers, they're also coming into this point of saying, we have just, in the last 3 years, shelled out so much money, and we went through a cap purge this year. We didn't necessarily do that to pay Jauan Jennings right now. Now, on the other side of this is San Francisco's got to make a decision with Jauan Jennings right now. Are you going to keep him long term, like over the next 3 years, or is he going to be a Kendrick Bourne that you say, well, he's replaceable?
He's so much better than Kendrick Bourne.
He is so much better. I'm not saying quality of player. I'm saying the same kind of decision. Kendrick Bourne had 7 touchdowns the season before he left. I mean, that's pretty productive as far as red zone. The issue with Jauan Jennings is very, very reliable. This is not the issue, but when you look at everything, his ability, his route running ability, blocking ability, reliability, quality hands, tough, he has all of those traits that say, good yes, teammate. we want this guy as a 49er for a long term, and we want to pay him. The problem becomes, how much are you going to invest in a guy who does have a ceiling that is lower than a couple of the other guys you have on the roster right now, in Brandon Aiyuk, Ricky Pearsall, possibly even Jacob Cowan? You have that issue, and it's the issue of Jauan knows he has the leverage right now because Brandon Aiyuk is not going to be there at the beginning of the season, and you can't afford to not have him. But the 49ers are also saying, can we afford to have him in 2026 and 2027 as a high dollar receiver if he ends up being really to our third receiver by that point? That's the struggle there. And I don't blame Jauan Jennings for pushing the issue now, because this is the moment for him to push the issue. If he's going to press the issue and say, I need to get paid, and it's going to be by the 49ers, that now is the time. It's not going to be in October or November or even free agency next year. This is when that point is going to happen. He's got to do it while he is the real number one wideout that the 49ers have. That probably won't be the case by next February. So he's pressing the issue when he has. It does make a very difficult decision for the 49ers. Do you just give him kind of a 1 year really high guaranteed extension and then let him go test free agency? I think they want him as part of the team, but they don't want to pay him $20 million a year. I don't think they want to do that. I think they see that last year was pretty much his ceiling. I love Jauan Jennings. I don't think he's going to be a 1,500 yard receiver. I just don't see it. I don't see him having the speed to get the throws down the field, or really even on some of those deep posts and stuff. I just don't see it there. 1,000 yards seems to be his ceiling, and that's good. That's very reliable. That's very good, but it's not in that $20+ million range. Now he is grossly underpaid for the rest of the league at what he's getting right now. So this is going to be really interesting how it kind of shakes out. They may approach him with, right now he's got $625,000 in per game roster bonuses. They could ostensibly make those fully guaranteed. So it makes it fully guaranteed money that he's going to have now instead of likely to be earned. They could throw a signing bonus in on top of that, $4 or $5 million. And so then you're upping the guaranteed money into, that would be almost $8 million range that you're getting at, which I think he would be more comfortable with. Maybe, I hope. But it's going to be one that's going to be interesting to see. And the 49ers need Jauan Jennings week 1. I mean, they need Jauan Jennings week 1. So if you trade him, you have to find some sort of assets that can make up for him, because Demarcus Robinson right now most likely is going to be gone. I can't remember if it was fully settled on that he is suspended through the first 3 games. Brandon Aiyuk most likely going to start out the season on the PUP. So it's Ricky Pearsall, who has had some durability issues last year during the offseason. We need to see him make it through a training camp before anything happens. And then it's going to be like Jacob Cowing, and then a bunch of guys who haven't had any game reps. So
unproven. Yeah.
It's a big bag of I don't know going forward. And, Jauan Jennings is not in a hurry here. He knows the playbook. He knows everything here. And really, as training camp goes on, he would probably only get more leverage, because say training camp starts and Ricky Pearsall tweaks a hamstring in the second week of August. Now he's got even more leverage on the 49ers, and his asking price just went up. So, they need to figure something out probably within the next 3 or 4 days. This has got to get done before training camp. This cannot go into training camp. It's not going to go well for the 49ers either way, the longer this goes.
Yeah, I don't think that there is a replacement. And as of right now, thinking through this the last half hour, I don't think there's that replacement of that's trade worthy, that is going to be as good of a locker room guy, as is going to know the offense as well as JJ. I mean, a trade doesn't make sense to me at this, when we have so many unproven guys. He's the proven guy. We do need to pay him, but maybe not what he would want. But yeah, like you said, it'll be interesting to see how that shakes out.
I mean, if you're looking at something in a trade, I don't know any names off the top of my head, but a scenario that would make sense, you'd be looking at like a team that's trying to maybe offload a guy that has been a little underwhelming for maybe their draft slot. Is younger, that they don't want to have to work out what the contract is going to be, and they want to get some assets back out of that situation before it's over, and they need they need more production from wide receiver. That would be the kind of situation. So you'd be bringing in somebody who wouldn't necessarily have production behind them, and you wouldn't be certain about how good of a blocker they are, how well they fit in this system, what are the issues that led to their lack of production versus their potential. It's not going to be a favorable trade for the 49ers. This would be one, they would be on the losing end of any straight receiver for receiver trade, I think, going forward, because either they're going to have to it's going to be a team trying to offload a bigger contract or an underperforming young guy. Those are the only 2 things that make sense.
Yeah. Who else is someone that's on your radar? I'm not going to say, I don't want all this negative energy. I'm not going to say who you're worried about, but someone that's on your radar of like, okay, I want to make sure that we get him signed.
Right now it's just Jauan Jennings. I mean, I think that's the only one that really is there. When you look at the different kind of spots around the team, I mean, I do want to see Alfred Collins get signed, because he still hasn't, but there's also 29 other second round picks who haven't been signed either, because Jaden Higgins, I think it's kind of that trickle down effect. I do think it's affecting the Jauan Jennings situation. I think he has wanted a pay increase, but the moment Jaden Higgins signs a contract, is like, that's it. I am not going into this season with less guaranteed money in my contract than this rookie who hasn't played it down. This is why they started the rookie pay scale to begin with, right? And I agree with Lisa, pay third and Jauan, pay him something. Thanks for the super chat, Lisa. Appreciate you. I'm not on the let's pay Jauan whatever it takes. that tends to be the fan reaction whenever just pay the man, just pay the man.
It's easy to spend someone else's money as well.
It's always easy, but then it's always then easy to 6 months from now go, well, this is what happens when you just pay money recklessly on people, and now you're in salary cap issues. So I like that tends to be the way the discussion goes, but I do think that this is a situation the 49ers need to move quickly. They tend to drag their feet. They tend to be just kind of, well, this is what we're doing and you move first. We're not going to negotiate against ourselves sort of approach, but you have to be proactive, especially with how things have gone. And we've seen them over and over again not get proactive and end up paying the piper as that goes. The exceptions being that they moved quickly with Diamador Lenore and they locked him up before there was like 4 corners who all got hit, who all got big extensions. And suddenly within 4 months, Diamador Lenore's contract looked like a bargain instead of looking like, wow, they extended a guy who isn't fully proven. They moved quickly and did it with Fred Warner and George Kittle and Brock Purdy, and they took care of things. Like they did it there. We didn't see that with Nick Bosa. We didn't see that with Deebo Samuel. We didn't see that with Brandon Aiyuk. And these things drug on, and you end up paying more in the end. They do need to resolve this quickly, figure out where there can be a middle ground, get Jauan Jennings into camp, make him happy, but also don't ruin yourself down the road for a receiver who probably by mid-season is going to be your number 3 wide receiver. And that's not a disparaging thing on Jauan Jennings. You want him there, but the reality is come December and January, you project him to be your number 3 wide receiver. So you're not going to pay him starting wide receiver money. That's just not what you're going to do. But week 1, he's going to be a starter.
Yeah. And let's remember the Brandon Aiyuk situation. The way it shook out was that they went with a number, and deep down that number would have worked, and come to find out later, like all that back and forth, and he admitted later all that. I don't want any of that stuff. I get negotiation, but like Brandon Aiyuk gets an F in negotiating. Like that did not work out very well. And I just don't want that to happen.
No, it worked out really well for Brandon Aiyuk, because Brandon Aiyuk got paid millions more than he approached the 49ers about. So, but because they wanted to wait until after the season, he ended up, the market jumped up. He had approached the 49ers about a number that was at least $5 million a year less than what he ended up signing. So Brandon Aiyuk actually had a masterclass in negotiating. The 49ers, they failed on their end.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
okay,
if he admitted later though that he would have taken, you remember how it came out that later after the fact, how he admitted that he would have taken that number.
He said he maybe made things a little bit harder than it had to be. He admitted that on his side, but again, he was the one who approached the 49ers about an extension first. His asking price was more. If you look at, if he had signed at what his asking price is, we would be sitting here saying Brandon Aiyuk was one of the best steals of the receiver signing class.
Yeah. So here's something Jam 18 just said. Don't think he's looking for a team-friendly deal. Probably his only chance for a substantial raise. That's a decent point. I don't think a guy like Jauan Jennings is going to be a guy that in 4 years can get a massive deal. Like this is his chance, wouldn't you say, after last year?
I mean, absolutely. Like I think he's somebody who he understands that there is a limitation on the range, the pay range he can climb into. He's not going to get into a Devontae Adams pay range. He's not going to get into a Tyreek Hill pay range. He's definitely not going to get into Justin Jefferson pay range. Right now, Justin Jefferson's career earnings are probably going to be 10 times that of Jauan Jennings. Justin Jefferson's got the kind of like money that is generational. 5 generations from now, they probably have money left over from it. Maybe, I don't know. The Rockefellers have something to say about that. But
yeah.
But Jauan Jennings is at that, like, I'm doing well for the rest of my life. And he's looking for that. Okay, I'm going to double my career earnings if in a pay raise in a single season here. That's what he's looking at. And getting into that range. That's where he wants to get to. And if it's not this year with the 49ers, he's 28 years old. If he's looking at when am I going to get my big payday?
Not at
It's
32.
now.
He's not.
Definitely not. It's not like he turns 30. He's not getting 10 million a year. That's just going to be real hard for him. Somebody who already didn't have a lot of speed and then start slowing down even more. That's going to be real hard for him to get that payday. So 28 years old, he's in the prime of the last couple of years of the prime of his career. He needs to get that money now, and he has the most leverage. This makes sense, really looking at it from his side. I totally get it. Hopefully they can come to some sort of resolution.
Yeah. For him, I get that he doesn't look like it. It's like he was drafted 217th overall. So at first, he's not thinking that maybe he's ever going to get that bag, because most guys that get drafted that late don't secure that type of bag. And now that he's, kind of a Brock Purdy situation where you didn't assume that this guy would get the bag, and Brock Purdy gets the bag, and now JJ's like, hey, if I wouldn't have been thrown out of that game, I easily would have had 1,000 yards. So treat me that way, and this is my chance. So deep down, can you blame the guy? No, but can you pay the guy the way that he wants to be paid? Probably not. That's
I mean,
it.
it just becomes difficult. I mean, he's not he is severely underpaid. I mean, he just really is. His ranking is 42nd out of wide receivers in this league. I mean, that's what he's being paid right now as the 42nd highest paid wide receiver in the league. Do we see Jauan Jennings as the 42nd best wide receiver in this league? I think that would be grossly unfair to Jauan Jennings to say he's not better than 42nd in the league in production. I mean, he just is. And so, that's where it's at. And I don't blame him. Again, like, everything is, I don't blame Jauan Jennings for being the way he is about all of this. Like, it's very understandable why he wants a new contract. So yeah, I mean, he was 28th in yards last year in the league, 28th, and he's being paid as the 42nd highest guy. And there's a bunch of rookies who are ranked above him that just can't get a pay raise yet that are there. So, that's
he's
where
got
it's
a
at as
bone to
well.
pick.
Like,
he's got a proper bone.
He's got a bone to pick. I mean, because you got guys like Zay Flowers who can't make any more money. They literally can't. And they had a little bit more yards than he did, maybe like 75 more yards than he did.
And he was injured too.
But I mean, for example, if we look at this, you have George Kittle, who's making a lot more money than Jauan Jennings is, who had 1,100 yards last year, and Jauan Jennings had 975. So,
well, and as a tight end, that's remarkable. 1,100
no,
yards.
It is remarkable.
I mean,
but
no
when you're looking at that, George Kittle's making something like $10 million more this year than Jauan Jennings, you're gonna say, okay, Amon-Ra St. Brown is making like what, 31 million a year, and Amon-Ra St. Brown had 250 more yards than Jauan Jennings. Like, it's not that big of a gap. It's not like it's not like the gap of Jamar Chase to Jauan Jennings. It's, and Amon-Ra St. Brown was 5th in the league. So Jauan Jennings is looking at this saying, look, I'm one of the more productive receivers out there, and I'm not being paid by it like it. DK Metcalf had 992 yards last year, is making way more money than Jauan Jennings. So he's going to say, look, I'm as valuable as DK Metcalf. I'm most productive, as productive as him. They both played the same amount of games. So, and DK only had 17 more yards.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see how that works out in Pittsburgh with with DK. Um, so all right, let's close this situation with what Mike B says. I'd like to think that we got rid of Debo because we didn't want to pay two guys as wide receiver one, so we can extend guys like Juwan as long as we don't pay him wide receiver one money. Yeah, that's the overall. That's basically what we're saying. So
Yeah. I don't know that if they got rid of Debo just because of that. I mean, there was issues, and this came out that, and we had all talked about it last season, that Debo, with the injuries and stuff, he struggled with his weight, and he wasn't as explosive as he had been. And so, I mean, he still had the top end speed, but he just wasn't quite as explosive, and he wasn't as reliable as far as being healthy and available. That was a big issue for the 49ers, is that it seemed like you have somebody who, when they can be on the field and when you can get the ball in their hands, can be extremely dynamic. But then he's getting injured, and while he's injured, he's not staying on his nutrition the way he should be, and he's putting on some weight, and he's losing some of the explosiveness when he comes back, and then is leading to some more injuries. This has been an issue with Debo more than just this year. I remember it was 2020. He had the multiple hamstring issues and things, and Kyle Shanahan talked about it that offseason, that Debo did not come in taking care of his body, getting ready for the full season, and that led to his injuries. That was part of what happened there. So this has been a history with Debo, and they loved him, but he also struggled beating man coverage. That was just something that he has struggled in, came to bite the 49ers in some of the most consequential games. Both of the Super Bowls, Debo Samuel disappeared for long stretches against the Chiefs because he just struggles beating man coverage against those guys. And you look at it, you say, well, if I got to beat the Chiefs and get over this hump and be able to do this in the third quarter, in the fourth quarter, Debo hasn't been that guy, but I'm paying him huge amounts of money, and we're missing him for long stretches of the regular season. Yeah, it makes sense to move on from him. I don't think it was just because they didn't want to allocate that much money into the receiver position. I think it was more, you now are going to have two guys who you can't be certain they're going to see the field throughout the whole season, and you're paying like $60 million or $55 million, something like that, 50 to them for the receiver position. So can't do that. I do hope they give Juwan a raise, and I hope he accepts it. I just hope he isn't looking for that, $20 million plus sort of deal and multi-year deal. I do think he's probably wanting at least a 3-year deal. I really do. It's either going to be a 3 or 4-year deal with bigger money than I think we're comfortable with, or it's going to be a 1-year deal and let him then test free agency at 29 years old while he still can make good money. That's going to be it's got to be one of those two things. They need to move aggressively and figure this out quick.
yeah. Reminder, guys, be sure to take your phone and walk up to strangers who are wearing 49ers gear and show them the channel. Be sure to hit the notification bell. If you are joining late, it might be because you weren't notified on time. So make sure the notification bell is clicked when you hit subscribe as well. Johnny, what are we moving to?
So let's move on to the safeties. Do we have safety concerns going forward into this year? And I had a good show with stats. It wasn't this last week, but the week before, we looked at the safeties. Or no, it was last week. I'm totally losing track of my time here. It's been
You're
a
getting
wild
old.
couple of weeks. I've just been busy, man. It was the same episode. We looked at a bunch of the stuff with Brock Purdy, and we started out the episode talking about the safeties, and I dove into a bunch of film on Malik Mustafa, some on Ji'ayir Brown. I was missing about 7 Ji'ayir Brown clips because my stupid rear end couldn't figure out where I saved it. And so I had these, and it was a big embarrassing moment live. Anyways, but then I showed a bunch of film from Jason Pinnock, who was a free agent acquisition the 49ers got. He was somebody who started several seasons there in New York with the Giants. And so there's kind of this 3-way competition for safety. Who is going to be the 2 starting safeties come week 1? Malik Mustafa, the big question there is, will he be healthy? Everything from him has said it's crazy that he wouldn't be starting week 1. Like, he put that out there when the first news kind of hit that he had a surgery for an ACL, that that he would probably be out for an extended period of time. Like he put out on social media on X that he was like, it's crazy that the timelines people are putting out there. Because what it more understood, and I think his mom put something out there that it wasn't ACL reconstruction. It was in like partial tear is a correct term, but it's not actually what we would think. Big shout out to Dre, who's up in the chat. Dre, we need to do another show together, buddy. But
what up, Dre?
It was more like a really bad sprain or strain where it stretched it out, and there was a lot of micro tears. So it's like partially torn, but it wasn't where it needed ACL reconstruction, and so there was a rehab to it, but he believes he'll be ready week 1. The reports coming out is that he's not going to be ready for training camp, and that week 1 that he could very well start out week 1 on the pup. So there's questions there. If Malik Mustafa is healthy, absolutely he's one of your starting safeties. I think last year he was phenomenal. The arrow was up in so many ways. Physical kid, tons of range, brings stopping power when he comes to tackle, and does everything you want from a safety. Now, when you come to Ji'ayir Brown and Jason Pinnock, Jason Pinnock believes he's going to be a week 1 starter. He said that. Ji'ayir Brown had a promising rookie year and then really struggled in a lot of ways throughout most of the season last year. Now, some of it, he was having to play in more space than he was asked to because the 49ers couldn't set a hard edge. And a lot of times those safeties in our wide 9 have to come down and fill in that C gap. And if that defensive end, they have to fill inside the defensive end. And so if that defensive end doesn't collapse that side, he's got more space that he has to try and tackle in. So there was a lot of missed tackles, but he doesn't bring the same stopping power that Malik Mustafa is. Now, Malik Mustafa is like 225 pounds. Put that in perspective. Fred Warner, when he was drafted, coming out as a linebacker, was 225 pounds. Dre Greenlaw, as a linebacker for us last year, was 225 pounds. That he is the size of a small linebacker. But with the range greater than even Ji'ayir Brown as a safety. So I mean, this is
a range better than Terry Tate, office linebacker. Remember those commercials?
He's got more range than a 787 Dreamliner. And anyways, Ji'ayir Brown had his issues. He had some issues in coverage, was not always on the P's and Q's of what his assignments were, and gave up some big plays. Then you have Jason Pinnock, who I like the way he feels. I like his aggressiveness. I like his physicality, his tackling ability. I like all those things. Is a little bit of a liability in coverage. Sometimes takes bad angles. He's got some good recovery speed, but sometimes just guesses a little bit too much. Sometimes doesn't put himself in the right situation. But I really like his ability to fill. I think there's going to be a really interesting battle there. This is a crucial year for Ji'ayir Brown. He's got to show that he is a starting quality safety. He's going to prove this year, am I the guy that the 49ers thought I was, being this number 2 safety off the board when they drafted me? Or am I just another safety that has a 1-year strong, promising outlook and then disappears and just becomes a guy, a special teamer really for most of his career? I'm trying to remember the safety. The 49ers had a kid. I was really high on him at the end of the 2017 season. He ended up had a really good rookie year. He was a 7th round pick, and I'm blanking on his name. I'm going to look it up, and I'll get back with you.
Reminder, guys, be sure to like and subscribe. Also, reminder, check out Sports Idiot Nation. I host that podcast as well. We kind of go over everything, and we just hit 100 episodes. So Sports Idiot Nation, wherever you get your social media as well, you can find us there. Johnny is looking
Adrian Colbert. That's who it was. Adrian Colbert, if you remember pulling back into the vault from 8 years ago, Adrian Colbert had that really strong 2017, had these flashes, huge range, could be physical, all this stuff was really exciting, and then came out the next year, struggled a bit in some games, and by the end of the season was a special teamer, and then has pretty much disappeared. He's stayed in the league. He stayed in the league for a long time, but he's been pretty much a special teamer from there on out. I mean, he hasn't played since 2022. He did come back in 2024 a little bit on Chicago's team. I think he appeared in 5 games. So, he was even around last year, but after that 2018 season, went to Miami, then New York, and then he's just kind of bounced around the league. But Adrian Colbert, like, you don't want to be that. Ji'ayir Brown's got to prove that he can be a player in this league and a top end player. He's got the physical tools. He's got to put it together. And this is a very, very crucial year for him.
Yeah. I think safeties are, since we lost, both Greenlaw and Huff to, what number was Colbert? Tyradome is asking, do you remember? Not
What
27.
number? What number did he play? Gosh, I'm trying to remember that. I mean, that's pulling way back into the vault.
I was trying to remember too. I don't remember him. I'm trying to think. I mean, you think of those guys.
Let's see. It looks like it was 38. 38 was his number.
Oh, like Goldson, huh?
Yeah. Now he did wear 27. Same as Ji'ayir Brown.
Okay, so I was gonna say 27. That's interesting. So I do kind of remember him. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, like I'll always remember, like he made a play on a far fade throw. I can't remember who it was against. I want to say it was the Rams. I remember it was at home. The 49ers were at home. He was on the far hash away and made it, and it was a collision point right when the receiver caught it. I was just impressed by the range. So I mean, he had a lot of great physical tools, just couldn't quite put it all together in there. So
it's interesting how that stuff shakes out, how someone can have that upside that you see, and you say to yourself, well, he's only going to get better. He's not going to get worse, right? He's going to get smarter. He's going to learn more about the defense, learn the calls. He's going to learn the game of football more. And it's just, sometimes it just doesn't go that way. But there was certain things that you pointed out to with Ji'ayir Brown, like not being able to set the edge. And what you mean by that is containment.
Well, no, not him being able to set the edge, filling in, like tackling.
No, right, because the edge wasn't set.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, so I mean, in theory, with Michael Williams being added and Nick Bosa there as in the rundowns and having to make those tackles in space, we saw some Ji'ayir Brown have some fewer issues on, like when Osi was on the field, like he was out there 91, that he was able to come on and set a little bit stronger of an edge, or Sam O, and so that he was out there, and so when that happens, you see somebody plays a little bit better, you go, okay, some of this is because of the personnel around him. Leonard Floyd could not set an edge at all. So, this is the year you say, okay, you don't have that excuse right now. And even if something happens there, you have to prove that you can still play in those circumstances. You were the number 2 safety off the board that year. You have got to prove that you belong here. We brought in a veteran who can do these things, so you've got to do it too, or you're going to be riding the bench and you're going to be playing special teams. Like, that's what's going to happen here.
Yeah. So what is your gut? So do you believe, Malik, that when he says, hey, week 1, I'm good to go? Or, I mean, is he just, of course he's going to say that type of situation, or does your gut tell you that he'll be there?
My gut tells me he's going to be there, just because, like, if you're not going to be there and you see reports like that, you just say silent. I mean, really, like there's nothing to add there. You're just gonna be like,
right.
And you're gonna go, I wonder which one of my homies leaked that.
Right.
But like, if that comes out and you're like, man, I don't know who's telling him that. That's crazy. That's somebody who's guessing is what's happening. That's somebody who just wasn't in the room with me and the doctor as we were looking at the scans. That's somebody who's heard what he's gone through and says this is normal, sort of a thing. But we'll see. There is some now kind of, tailing off that and tying back in the Brandon Aiyuk situation. There's been some talk that Brandon Aiyuk is well ahead of schedule. I mean, well ahead of schedule. We talked Coach Desi about that. That's like the unhappy triad is like 12 to 13 month recovery because there's more than the ACL in there. But he has been healing incredibly quickly, well ahead of the pace of most people, and could be, back to that 90-95% by 9 months, which would be huge for the 49ers. Huge. 9 months, 10 months, that he could ostensibly, if they really pressed, could in theory put him out there week 1. But they're going to be extremely cautious with him. I think part of that is the contract that plays into that. I mean, you don't want that much money again on IR because you were just like, well, we're going to push it here. So yeah, that was some good news though. Some good news that was coming out, Adam.
Yes, I did see that. And I started to see on the nationally syndicated shows that they were saying like, yeah, he probably just won't be ready week 1. And I'm thinking, just week 1? Like, I thought originally, yes, shout out to Coach Desi, when we talked to her, that like it was going to be closer to November, December. And then there's talks of only missing right around week 1. Well, guys, that's September. That's crazy. If he really is on that pace, holy cow, that is big. That's great news. I mean, just to be out there and again, as a leader and to help the younger guys. Yes, he'll be there on the sidelines to help, but I'm just saying, if he's there in pads, like ready to go, man, that's huge. And I'm sure in the next 6 weeks, this is going to turn, we'll have a segment called the How is Brandon Aiyuk's leg? Because it's going to be a topic. Like, it's just going to be a thing.
Yeah, it goes. Yeah, it is. I mean, that's how it goes. That's how this part of the season goes. But let me look. We're finally here. Like next week, the end of next week, the 49ers report to camp. We're getting there, folks. We are getting there. We are almost back for some real football. I mean, it's still 2 months away before like season football, but we're so close to training camp being there and this being fun.
We have preseason football this very month of July, albeit the last day, but it's still this month. We do not have
to wait. It's only 17 days away. It's only 17 days away. So
and we'll see the 4th string players for the Detroit Lions. So exciting.
Hey, that look, I will take 4th string players for the Detroit Lions over like the European Football League. So
correct.
No, because those would be the 5th stringers on the Detroit Lions.
No, it's just exciting that football is coming very, very soon. Again, be sure to take your cellular device, walk up to someone wearing red. Even if you find out it's not 49ers and it's just Ohio State or a Stanford shirt or some other red, just go up to them anyway and just say,
anybody wearing any kind of a red t-shirt, just
unless you're in a gang.
It could be somebody who was a big Joseph Stalin fan, and you just go up to him and you're gonna tell them they need to watch this channel for the 49ers.
Here's what you can do. You can just simply say, oh, I'm sorry, I thought you were wearing Niners gear. Are you a Niners fan? And then if they say no,
they're a Miners fan. Like they really appreciate the coal miners.
Yes, and if they are, obviously you got to say, oh, well, do you have your phone on you? I got to show you something. I do that in the bars. It works great for me. It works great for me when I can show them that it's actually my face on the show. They're like, they know I'm not kidding. And then they see the 25,000 subscribers. Oh, now we got all the red coming in. Ohio, Louisville, Target. Go to the employees at Target. Yeah. That is hilarious. Quit football. We can always
just sit on the red ball outside Target.
The red ball. Yeah. That is awesome. All right. Let's get out of here, Johnny.
Left turn. Took a left turn. We just went off the rails.
But it is fun. Again,
they were loose anyways.
Exactly.
Yes,
That's what we
go to
love about it.
Chiefs fans. Yes, I love that. Look.
What?
I was so when I drove back from Washington State, like that was a long drive. I was so like driving through Kansas City because I had to drive through Kansas City, and I just didn't like it the whole time. I stayed at a hotel outside, like 70
Did you get
miles outside of
barbecue?
Kansas City.
Did you get some to eat?
No, I refused to get barbecue there. I wasn't going to have any Kansas. I'm from Alabama. We have our own barbecue, okay? And I actually smoked a brisket last week. It was amazing. It was phenomenal. And it was grass-fed, grass-finished. You guys know the story on that. But anyways, I was not having any of their barbecue. Wasn't having any. I had to check into a hotel, and the lady had a Kansas City Chiefs keychain, and I was biting my tongue the whole time because she was really nice, but I was like, I can't even with them. So if they're a Chiefs fan, yes, you go and throw something and then run away. Like you throw the channel out and then you run away. Don't let them come back and talk about any of the Super Bowls, because then you'll just be mad for like 2 months. But yeah, there you go.
These are my friends. Just leave. Yeah. All right. Thank you to the faithful, of course, for going along with our craziness. Michael Norris says they have on a Mahomes jersey and tell them, I thought you had a Niners gear on. Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, Terraridome's right. Kansas City barbecue, it's more ketchup based. I like a little bit more of the vinegar in it. Now, Alabama is known for look, there's a quick barbecue thing. The different regions, it's like southeast of the United States is all about the barbecue. And so like it's it is different no matter where you go. Alabama is known for its white sauce, which is like the kind of the Carolina very vinegary sauce mixed with some mayonnaise in it to kind of thicken it up and cut down the real harsh vinegar. So that's Alabama sauce, is Alabama white sauce. The Carolina sauce is going to be more vinegary. Memphis sauce is more like molasses and honey, and then Kansas City is more ketchup based. It is. So Kansas City, like, to me, I'm not a big fan of the Kansas City style. Texas style barbecue is a little more dry. It's like the dry rubs and more pit barbecue, which is like over open flame. It's not the slow smoked kind of a thing. So they all have different ways of doing it. For me, I am partial to the Alabama barbecue. It's some good stuff. We got some great barbecue joints down here.
Hey, say hi to Jesse.
Hey, Jesse. Daddy's gonna be home soon.
Yeah, let's get you out of here, guys. Again, thank you for hanging with us, faithful. In the meantime, in between time, we'll see you hopefully Friday. Hit the notification bell. As always, stay safe, stay healthy, and as always, go Niners.